What's up, all you movie lover badasses out there? Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood. All you awesome collectors out there. And welcome to another episode of Phat Pickups. Let's get it started. Alright, first up, we're going to get into our Blu-Rays and DVDs. You know we had to get some Civil War now. You know we had to get that. Got some Civil War. Now, these two will be featured on our next Blind by Adventures episode, where we can get a little bit into it and do a review on both of these movies. But these are two I've always been curious about. For years I've been curious about these. This first one is Patrick Swayze's Next of Kin. Always wanted to see this movie, so it's a blind buy. I bought it, so hopefully it's good. If not, you'll hear about it. Next up is, oh man, I really, for years, ever since I seen a TV spot trailer so long ago, I was like, I want to see this movie really bad, and I just never got around to seeing it. It's actually from Scream Factory. It's called Raising Cain. This is the collector's edition. This just came out, by the way, starring John Lithgow. I've always wanted to see this, and this comes with the theatrical version of the film and a never-before-seen director's cut of the film featuring scenes recorded as originally intended. So I'm really curious. Probably gonna watch the theatrical first, right?
Yeah.
Get the experience that way, and then go ahead and watch the director's cut. So always curious about this movie, so we had to get Raising Cain.
Alright, so I have this horrific tendency to buy anime by the bulk whenever it's cheap. And we subscribe to 3 different streaming services that give us anime. And one of those services, I caught the first episode of Black Butler, and I gave it a shot, and the first episode had me interested enough, so I went ahead and purchased the first season, and I enjoyed it so much that I ended up getting the rest. Now, the interesting thing about Black Butler is that it is based off a manga, as is everything in Japan, and the first anime takes elements, it's a lot like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Full Metal Alchemist, where you have it based off of a source material. One of them takes certain elements from the source material and goes off and does their own thing, and then eventually they might go and do something based more off the source material. You can also cite Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate for doing that. Now, the first and second season, they took characters, they took certain story plots here and there, and they made their own thing out of it. So a lot of people are a little, I don't know if I like that. Now, I went in kind of knowing and then not knowing. I knew that they did their own thing. And so the first and the second season are very interesting because they're tied together pretty much. And then the third season says, okay, well, we went off and did our own thing in there, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just go straight off of the manga now. And so you have to go into Black Butler knowing that the first and the second season are isolated and they are their own thing, and the third season and then the Book of Circus OAV, they are completely based off of the manga and they have nothing to do with the first 2 seasons. So if you can go in, I recommend it. It's hard for me to recommend anime. If you read up on it, kind of get a feel for what it is, it's not for everybody. Anime is very subjective. It's, some people love it, some people hate it, some people are very picky. I try to be picky, but I fail miserably, as the rest of my collection that I've gotten this year will demonstrate later on. So this was courtesy of That Fat Samurai Guy, Seraph of the End, Season 1, Part 1. Now, the only problem with Funimation, I love Funimation, they've done a really good job of bringing in anime. At first, it was kind of a reasonable thing. Back in the day when I started collecting anime and became a fan of anime, the early 2000s, we were being price gouged like you would not believe. Distributors in America, they would break things up into 6 volumes, 8 volumes, 10 volumes. Sometimes it would just go through the roof. Back in the day, you could pay anywhere between $20 to $30 if you were lucky for 1 volume, which could contain as little as 2 to 3 episodes. It was highway robbery, and it was very rare to get a box set on its own without having to go through collecting all of the volumes. And it was rare to get that box set for dirt cheap. Now, Funimation, I feel, have done a good job in bringing us anime with a good dub. I am not a subtitle snob. I do prefer my anime dubbed, at least for the most part. If the dub is atrocious, I will watch subtitle. I have no problem with that. But I do like a dub. I like to be able to watch what I'm watching first, and then later on, if I want to watch it in the original language, I have that option too as well. Unfortunately, recently I've noticed Funimation, probably through necessity, trying to get their monies, trying to get their money back through their purchase of the American distribution rights. They have been practicing a little bit of the price gouging recently. There's a show that I have been keeping my eye on Blu-ray on Amazon.com called Rage of Bahamut. We caught that on, I want to say, it was Hulu, and had a blast watching it. It's a 12-episode series of just sheer insanity. But again, 12 episodes, and you can't find it for any less than $47 right now. That's a little too much for my taste. I'm cheap. I'm a cheap-ass bitch. I gotta get my stuff on the down low. That's one of the reasons why if I show you a bulk of anime, you can be assured that I did not pay a lot for it. I'm not gonna pay a whole lot for something I feel I'm willing to pay, but only at a reasonable price. So something that kind of falls under the blind buy category, but I purchased it and I did enjoy it a lot, was Dead Man Wonderland. This falls under the category of, well, I enjoyed the hell out of it, but shit, it didn't properly end. But it was a good purchase. I still recommend it. It was a lot of fun. Now this little fella here, I bought for $9. It's called Blood Lad, the complete series. It's 12 episodes and I believe an OAV, or OVA, however you prefer. It's a DVD. It is getting a Blu-ray release if it hasn't already. Now the Blu-ray release is $35. Again, I paid $9 for a DVD. And the thing I've noticed about anime is that the majority of it can look pretty decent on DVD as opposed to Blu-ray. Some anime, there's a considerable difference, and some anime, there's very little difference. I feel that the biggest difference I've noticed is that the subtitles or any type of text title translation that you get, it's gonna look pretty digitized, it's gonna look kind of shitty on DVD as opposed to Blu-ray, but I can handle that. I'm not reading the subtitles all the time, so it's not a big deal. Full Metal Alchemist, The Conqueror of Shambhala is the conclusion to the first series of Full Metal Alchemist, not Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which was mostly based off the OAV. I have the Full Metal Alchemist Blu-ray. I just recently acquired that for my birthday earlier this year. I have yet to watch it, but I know that the movie concludes the series, so I had to buy that for the cheap. D. Gray Man. Very interesting, kind of supernatural, alternate universe, alternate timeline to Earth. I purchased it. It's a DVD release. They started releasing it on Blu-ray and then they stopped, and so all you can really get are these save bundles, which are pretty good value. Unfortunately, the show is over 100 episodes, and in the States we only got about 52 of those episodes.
Oh, damn anime.
So, but the good news is that recently Funimation acquired the rights to the remaining episodes of the series, so probably sometime next year we might start getting more of a release of that.
Oh, they did?
They did.
Oh.
It's just, unfortunately, with Funimation, it does take them a while to actually distribute these things. I enjoy the hell out of this show. I kind of wish I had known that it hadn't finished before I went out and bought both of them and then watched it. That'll teach me for not researching. And from the creator of Cowboy Bebop, you bought me Samurai Champloo. Now, you've seen it. I have yet to see it. You said it was pretty good,
This is freaking cool, man.
Okay.
This is good shit right here.
Again, Blu-ray, really good price for it. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. This is a series. This also falls into the category of Adventures in Blind Buying with shit. Not a terrible series, no end. It's I think it was a little too young for me. It's based off a junior high. This girl, she wakes up, she's the chosen one, yada yada yada. It had some really interesting ideas, some really interesting animation. I have a feeling if I watch it a second time, I'm gonna enjoy it a lot more. This one.
You should have known with Shonen Jump being on here.
But here's the problem, again, this is also falls into the category of Adventures in Blind Buying.
That's true.
I have a terrible habit of buying anime that I have yet to see based off of multiple reviews. Now, I think I'm being smart. I get a feel for the synopsis, for the characters, for the story, for the quality of the anime based off of descriptions and people's reviews. Now, you'd think I would learn after being burned so many times, but nay. So I went and I purchased Busou Rinkin. Now the good news is it's not a terrible anime. I haven't even finished the damn thing yet, partially because it's kind of hard to watch. I am seriously considering switching over to the subtitled version because the dubbing is not so great. This is not a good DVD transfer. The animation, because of the DVD, looks kind of shitty. So if I have to, I'll probably end up just biting the bullet, go to subtitles, and just marathon the shit out of this. Again, it's not terrible. It's just there comes a point where anime does have the potential to be very generic.
Very lazy.
So you know, we'll see how that goes. So, a couple years ago, I started getting into Fairy Tail. Now, the good news and bad news about Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail started off as a very fun, very heartfelt, very adventurous show, and it turned into a fight of the week show. Actually, it turned into a fight that lasts for weeks show. And that's my biggest problem with Fairy Tail. What ended up happening to it was what was once character, story arcs, yada yada yada, turned into literally one fight between 7 people fighting 7 other people could last for 40 to 50 episodes. And I can't stand that. That's not my type of anime. It didn't start off that way. I had no indication that it was going to get that far. And it also became very cliched, very predictable, where the gang comes across people and, oh no, we're not strong enough. Oh yay, we're strong enough, we won. Okay, on to the next adventure. So I bought volume 3 because it was very cheap. I will eventually probably get the first half of Fairy Tail, but for right now I'm just buying it as it gets cheap. I'm buying each volume. The cheaper it gets, the more likely I am to go ahead and pick it up. Ghost in the Shell.
Dun dun dun.
Ghost in the Shell. I can't explain why. I love this movie. It's the original 1995, iconic, I suppose you could say. A lot of people have started off with Ghost in the Shell. It's kind of a gateway anime.
It was mine.
I had to purchase the Blu-ray.
Mine.
It was like $8. I'm like, oh, yoink. Love it. Love the film. Love the score. Oh.
So with this 25th anniversary edition, what is the differences? Is there differences with the original?
No, it's not the weird CGI version where they replace the old.
I don't know if you guys knew that there was another version of this movie.
Yeah, where they took certain shots and they CG'd them, and it was a little jarring. It was interesting to watch. I think it was on Netflix for a while or something like that. It was interesting to watch, but I do prefer the original animation version. Okay, so guess what, guys? I'm a girl. All right.
What?
I have very embarrassing, girly tendencies. I enjoy the show Kami-sama Kiss. I'm sorry. I deeply apologize. It's one of my weaknesses. I'm embarrassed.
Guilty pleasure?
Very, very much so. It's volume 2, it's season 2. So, that's
all right. We all have them. We all have our guilty pleasures.
Anyway. This is a show called Defrag, the complete series. I saw this, I want to say, on Hulu. It is hysterical. I enjoyed the hell out of it. A lot of fun. Defrag, bunch of nerds in high school doing nerdy things. It's funny as hell. Ponyo.
Uh-oh.
Ponyo.
One wasn't good?
It was, not that it wasn't good. Ponyo was very cute. There are certain Studio Ghibli films that I really, really love. And then there are certain films from the studio that I enjoy very much. So, and at least I got it for cheap. It's not a terrible film. It's very cute. It's very, very cute. A Letter to Momo. Again, another one I got on the cheap. It's one of those movies where I was expecting a little bit more from it, but it's actually, it's pretty good. I do recommend a watch. It's good.
All right, I'll take a crack at this. Utawaru Rumono. Sure.
Let's see. Utawareru Mono.
Yes.
Anyway, it's based
sure.
off a video game. Again, I got it on the cheap. I'm about halfway through. It's interesting. It's not terrible, but again, it falls on the side of entertaining, but just a bit generic. And that's the thing about anime. You will get that a lot. Anime is like any other genre out there. You have to weed through the generic ones to get to the good ones, and then you have to weed through the good ones to get to the great ones. I'm fine to settle with good to great. I do happen to own a lot of generic anime, but there's something to be said for anime that's at least mindless and entertaining. It doesn't have to be great, but there's some anime out there where it's like, oh, yeah, that was fine, but I didn't need to buy it. Anyway. What is this, Paprika? Mm-hmm. Paprika! I enjoyed the hell out of this. Don't ask me what it's about. It's kind of psychological, but it's really, really interesting to look at. Really fun. Beyond the Boundary. Not necessarily a guilty pleasure, kind of supernatural-ish. I enjoyed it very much. Sands of Destruction! Okay, this is one of those where it was a little on the generic side, but it was a lot of fun. This was very entertaining. And the equally legendary as Ghost in the Shell, Akira. Now, Akira, or Akira, is a bit of... It's one of those movies where a lot of people, if you've heard the hype over the years and you go to sit down and watch it, you're there's a good potential that you were gonna say that was highly overrated and what the fuck was that. I agree. Well, it's a very odd film.
3 discs?
It's actually the Blu-rays in the wallet. So it's, but
okay.
yeah, it's like
Special features.
the really interesting thing about this version is that they have the original English dub that apparently got released back in the early 90s, including, and then they have the actual dub that we're used to now. So that's an interesting, kind of hard to listen to, but it's fun.
Another gateway anime for me. Back
Yeah.
in the day. I was like, holy crap, what is this?
Akira is one of those.
I didn't know what was going on.
Exactly.
I didn't know what the story's about.
Akira.
But those bike scenes, man.
Yeah.
The animation, I was just like.
Yeah, Akira is one of those movies where I finally caught it early on in my anime days. Not as early as like the beginning. Like the beginning, the very first 2 films I ever purchased were Ghost in the Shell and Ninja Scroll. Those are my 2 movies that I first bought after I started buying series when I could afford it. And when I finally got my hands on Akira, it was like, whoa, what the fuck? But I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that was
my gateway anime was Ghost in the Shell, Akira, Ninja Scroll, of course. Stop hating on Ninja Scroll, y'all. Stop hating on Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll's fucking badass. Stop hating on it. I don't understand what the big deal is. That's what a lot of anime people say. I'm like, well, yeah, of course, today, the animation's a lot better and all that, but come on, Ninja Scroll's a fucking badass.
You get a lot of flashy, very beautiful.
It's still cool.
You look at the movie like Sword of the Stranger, which a lot of people don't seem to know about.
Yeah, Sword of the Stranger's fucking badass, you guys.
It's
Watch that.
beautifully animated. It's very fluid, and that's the thing. I think people... It's kind of like...
They're spoiled?
It's kind of like the difference between people not being able to watch a regular live-action movie that's 10, 15, 20, 30 years old. It's hard to go back. If you think about it. And whether you think Attack on Titan is overrated or not, if your first exposure to anime was Attack on Titan, try to go back after that and try to go back and watch something like Trigun, okay? Think about that. It's hard to go that far back. The animation is very different. Attack on Titan is beautifully animated, if nothing else. It's very dramatic. It's very large scale. And you try to go back in time and go watch something like, I don't know, an old Gundam Wing show or something, and it's hard,
Yeah, but if you're a true die-hard anime fan, you like the old and the new.
It's
It's
hard.
There's nothing like the old school hand-drawn.
Yeah, and
animation's
that's the thing about
awesome.
Akira. You sit down and at least visually be able to appreciate Akira. Akira is a magnificent looking film. The opening shots of Neo Tokyo with that score with the drums and they're
all
flashing through
hand-drawn.
on their fucking bikes.
All hand-drawn.
It's gorgeous. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. Anyway, Shiki. That was a very interesting... Yeah, dark. Takes some very dark turns by the end of the series. Oh, this is for you.
Well, it's for me.
Yeah, it's for you.
Oh, yes.
This was a Christmas gift, I want to say.
Yes, Royal Space Force, The Wings of...
Can't even pronounce it.
Honimedes?
Sure, why not?
This is another movie where I started to get interested. Speaking of gorgeous hand-drawn animation, this movie, woo! But this is another one of those movies where, growing up, I like Dragon Ball Z and mostly just all action anime, the Professional Goku 13, Vampire Hunter D, stuff like that. And then I came across this. Now, something like this is not a Fat Samurai Guy type of movie. Okay? This, especially at the time, all I liked was action, like I said. This should have bored the crap out of me. Like, this should have been so boring, but I couldn't stop watching it. It's not an action. There's no action in this at all. But it is about space exploration, and it's just very interesting. And the music's really good. Very entertaining. Highly recommend Royal Space Force. The Wings of Mayonnaise.
Alright, so this falls again under the category of damn it all to hell. It might get better. Again, I bought this under the pretense that it was something else. I thought it was a group of guys, or 2 guys with a nice little ensemble, having adventures, yada yada yada. It turned into a fucking fighting show. Get backers.
Get backers.
And again, this is going to be one of those. I got about halfway through I'm gonna have to marathon this bitch on subtitles because the dubbing is atrocious.
It's pretty bad.
I want to say it's middle 2000s ADV dubbing, and it's not good.
It's bad.
It's hard to watch, and some of the characters are terrible. We'll see. If I give it a better chance to just zoom in and marathon that shit. Space Dandy! That's a blind buy right there, but a lot of fun.
So much fun.
You want to turn your brain off show where you don't have to pay attention and just have some fun? Right there.
Funny as hell characters.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good animation. A lot of fun.
Zero consequences.
Yeah.
Nothing of importance happens. A lot of fun.
If you love sci-fi comedies, here you go. Right here, Space Dandy.
Spice and Wolf. I have not yet watched this. I got through a couple of episodes and I moved on to something else. I do that sometimes. Anime for me is like painting.
Was it not good?
It's not that it's not good. It's like painting for me. Sometimes I will start a piece and I will be going through and I think I'm doing okay, and then nope, that portion of my brain turns off and I have to move on to something else. Spice and Wolf, it was perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just need to be in the right frame of mind and go back in and start over and watch it. Oh, this is one of my favorite series. I caught this on Hulu about a year and a half ago, and it's a Noragami supernatural tale. I enjoy the hell out of it. I love it. Second season came out this year. I was so excited, and I can't wait till that comes out on Blu-ray. You bought me this, Michiko and Hachin.
It looked like fun.
It was a lot of fun. It's very odd. It's one of those alternate Earths where it's basically Japanese and Brazil. It's two cultures coming together and making this new world. Very interesting show. Nice characters too. I've not yet seen this. I'm fired. When Marty was there.
Was this the last whatchamacallit movie?
I think
from the Studio Ghibli movie?
It's possible.
Ghibli or Ghibli? I'm sorry.
No, we're terrible. It's possible.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it yet. We bought it and haven't seen it. That's another bad habit I'm into.
Heard a lot of good things about this though.
Yeah.
It says really excellent, really good stuff. All right, we got some figs and some statues now. Just a little bit, and a really cool mug. Lady Fat Blood got me. Check it out. Yeah, that's right. Got a cool little coffee Dragon Ball Z Vegeta mug that when you pour the hot coffee in there, all around here he just goes straight Super Saiyan. It's awesome. It's over 9,000. Worst Vegeta impression ever.
Oh, that was brilliant. I don't know what you're talking
Go
about.
ahead.
All right, so I mentioned I paint statues and whatnot, ceramics and resin pieces. One of my favorite hobbies as of late is to take resin pieces that don't have necessarily the greatest paint job, but that I feel could go for a facelift. And this is one of my recent acquisitions. I just bought this.
It's pretty cool.
I'm going to be repainting this guy. Haven't got any colors picked out yet. The thing is, I never know what color I'm going to paint him until I actually start painting. I'll give you a little example of what I do. The pieces usually start off something like this. Like that, right? Like that. And I end up making them look something like this. Nice little color, you know, embellishment. It's fun.
Will this be featured on Lady Fat Blood's Dragon of the Week?
Yeah.
Cool.
Why not? So that's that.
And you know us, gotta get some more pops. We're obsessed with pops, damn it. So we got, you can do that one. I'll do this one.
All right, so despite in recent years this show severely pissing me off and making it very hard for me to call myself a fan, one of the things that I did appreciate was the 50th anniversary and the special that they came up with and the character that they created for the 50th anniversary in the War Doctor. I love John Hurt. I love John Hurt as the War Doctor. And I thought it was pretty decent special, all things considered, and I loved his character.
For the Doctor Who TV series, if you guys are wondering.
Yeah.
All right. And she bought me the Zoom pop. Zoom, one of the coolest villains on the Flash TV series. So you can't have Zoom without the hero. Okay, you can't have the villain without the hero there. So she got me the television series version of the Flash. Yeah, pop right there. Woohoo! Can't wait to bust this bad boy open. On the back, it looks like they got the Flash Unmasked, Reverse Flash, Captain Cold, and Captain Cold Unmasked. So, thank you, dear. I appreciate it. That's it for today's episode of Fat Pickups. If you guys have any questions on any of the items, let us know in the comments below. We'll see you guys next time.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.